AgWeek weather is sponsored by Bremer Bank. Connect with a banker today at bremer.com.
Can the region expect these mild temperatures to stick around? Here's John with our AgriWeather outlook.
Moving into the latter part of November, the time around Thanksgiving, the weather pattern is locking into a fairly cold and mostly dry weather pattern for much of the agricultural regions of the United States. Now, I don't mean there will be no precipitation. I'm just not looking for a lot of expansive stuff and a lot of storms. Now, cold weather is definitely dropping in. It's not the frigid stuff. We're not going to see a lot of sub-zero weather, just going to see a lot of freezing weather into the north-central part of the United States, and at times, you'll watch as that actually drops a little bit further south. The jet stream pattern that we're watching, this one that has a fairly major area of low pressure in the southern plains, but some ridging in the northern plains. But this trough in the Great Lakes area and Hudson Bay will actually retrogress this week, and that will allow, that means move backwards basically, move back to the west, and that's going to allow some colder weather, some freezing weather to drop into the northern plains in time for the Thanksgiving holiday and pull down a little bit of frigid weather, but it's really not going to get much further north in the Hudson Bay area. So we're going to see a lot of cold temperatures. By that I mean near freezing or below freezing daytime across the northern plains and the mountains, of course. Cool weather will penetrate the south. Not going to see a lot of hot weather anywhere. Very little 80s and 90 type weather. There'll be some 70s along the coast and over Texas, Southern California, its usual self, but a fairly cool but mostly dry weather pattern. Notice the trace of the jet. A lot of ridging up here, a lot of troughing as these jet streams kind of center around a large area of low pressure, which is basically going to stall out through the holidays. And as we move on into the weekend after Thanksgiving and on into the week after Thanksgiving, which this year is still mostly November, owing to the early date of Thanksgiving this year, it's going to remain relatively cold, mostly below freezing or 30s, maybe a stray day in this dark blue may get up to 40 degrees, but it's mostly pretty cold weather. But without a lot of snow on the ground, it's not likely to be really frigid. We'll keep that stuff locked in up north. Jet stream by the end of the pattern appears to be going a little more flat. We call that zonal flow, west to east, and that means that as the calendar turns toward December, it's beginning to look like not only will it be relatively mild, but it looks like it might be staying fairly dry. So not a terribly harsh start to December. This week, the pattern will show snows in the mountains, mostly dry weather over the southwest southern plains, probably one weather system that brings a little precipitation on the eastern side of the Corn Belt, might come as far west as Iowa. The second week, which means the first part of December, looking mostly dry. Cold but dry, an odd combination.